I'm gonna get one without the flash. 1, 2, 3.
I had them from my nursing days, and somehow I haven't lost them. How's that?
I remember when I first met you at the fabric store, you'd come in wearing bright, beautiful clothing with matching glasses that complemented your outfit and your gorgeous grey hair. I was inspired by your style, but also by the way that you carried yourself with such confidence. As someone who's just entered my 30s, I sometimes have a fear that when I get older, what if I fade into the background? Especially in the age of social media where there's such a focus on younger people making it young or whatever that means. But when I see people like you, it's truly inspiring. A role model for what aging beautifully looks like. Someone who embraces their age, develops their unique style, stays incredibly active, continues learning, and shines on social media. So thank you for being such an inspiration to me for what I've got to look forward to. You inspire a lot of others in the same way. And now I'm also looking forward to when my hair turns grey too.
Oh, that's lovely. Unpredictable. I really don't have a personal style. Absolutely comfortable clothes is what I always go for. And then I like a bit of colour, as you probably know, and texture. So don't really have a style as such. I know I can look stylish if I want to, but I gravitate between lots of different looks.
That's cool. I was wondering what you would say actually, because I was like, there's so many words that you could express, but I think that's really cool. It's like whatever you're drawn to, you know, like that's like...
Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to make. My mother sewed, then my older sister sewed. I was inspired by them actually. So I think I bought a sewing machine when I was about 15. I used to sew make it today, wear it tonight type clothes. So they usually fell apart and looked pretty bad, but it didn't matter. It was a way in, and I enjoyed those. They were my disco years, so I enjoyed them.
And then you mentioned that you went back to sewing and got some more lessons.
I went back to sewing when I was 50, so there's a big gap there. I did make a few baby clothes for my kids, and when I was about 50, I decided to go and get sewing lessons. That was the start of a different version of my sewing skills.
A new era of your sewing.
Signed up for 3 years, and I knew I was the oldest student there, but I think I was actually the oldest person in the building also. And it took the kids a while to get used to me, but they were all really good. A little bit annoying sometimes, like most teenagers, but they were all really good, and I learnt just so much, and I'm forever grateful for what I did learn there. And I'd recommend anybody that's a bit older that thinks they're not up to it, you are. And it's tough, especially with IT and technology. It's very different. But I loved it. Yeah.
I thought that was really inspiring when I remember you coming into the fabric store and you were getting like fabric for your pieces and stuff. I thought that's so cool that you're on this journey as well. And a lot of the time it's like, oh, I'm going to study and figure out what I'm going to do. And like I studied fashion out of school, but like studying, it felt like it gave me permission even to be like, oh, I can study something when, you know.
Well, I was a nurse.
Yeah.
So, you know, we didn't do any sewing back then. It's completely different. They don't do it for you. You still got to drive it. You know, you've still got to think of what you want to make and what you want to make it from. And
totally. And was it more of a challenge for yourself going, I want to go and learn, like study fashion and do the 3 years at TAFE? Was it more of, I want to challenge myself to do this? Yeah.
And just to be mentally active. And it was, and sometimes I was terrified of some of the things that I had to understand, particularly like CAD, the computerized pattern making. Now, I really struggled with that because I haven't come from that tech world, and I found that was a little frustration, but because I was the oldest person there, that I was, I could have been helped a bit more with that because people were coming in with those skills and picked them up like that. As for when you're older, it's much harder for your brain to just go, yeah, that's how you do it. So that was a bit frustrating, but it doesn't matter because I can, I found my own ways to make my patterns. Gee whiz, I liked so much of it. I think I liked just the ability to learn, to really learn the finer details of creating an outfit, compared to where I started of just kind of cutting out a pattern and hoping it would fit. And now I'm really particular about fit. And to me, it's the most important thing, because if it doesn't fit me well, I don't wear it. So it's got to be comfortable and fit well. Probably that, and just learning from these women that have worked there, mostly women that have worked there forever, that are just incredible fonts of knowledge in regards to all things sewing and pattern making.
Yeah, I loved that too, about studying. Yeah, just kind of picking their brain.
It was always inspiring.
Like
I'd always come home and think, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, which I did a lot.
And that's the thing about fashion and sewing is like, especially, sewing and pattern making, drafting, you can never stop learning. There's always something new to learn forever. Like it's a continuous learning thing for sure.
And when you start doing difficult things, like detailing, that is fantastic. When you can actually, I never thought you'd seen in a fashion magazine, you think I could never do that. And you can. That is just
with all the pleats and all the different things that I know that you do as well. That's so cool. The next question I wanted to ask you was, you're an advocate for older women's visibility in the sewing community. Why is this such an important topic for you?
The scene has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. Because I went grey very early, my hair, I used to dye it, and when I stopped dyeing it, what I did was I went to the hairdresser. I had long dark hair, and I said, take it off, and I had like a number 2, so I had it shorn off.
Wow.
Because I was sick of it growing out. And I was horrified at the response I got from other women. Why would you do that? Why would you not colour your hair? And I thought, hey, this is the 2000s, what are you talking about? And that really got up my nose. One, that people could even comment on it, and 2, that they just thought you should continue dyeing your hair. I'm really anti-dye and have been for a long time. I think it changes the look of a woman's face. It spoils the colour, that your colours are natural. And I'm just so happy to see that it's just so in now. Like grey hair is big time, and young people want to get grey hair, so it's big time. So, and also, women are more visible now. They weren't then really, and as much. They've always been a group of women that have been fighting for other women. But now I see, like, there's so much respect for older women, and I see it on the gram a lot. So much, I want to be like that when I'm your age. Like things like that weren't said years ago, and there's a lot of it said now. And I think it just goes to show that getting old doesn't mean that you change. It's just that you get to live longer, and experience more in life. So, I'm all for older women being out there.
Sometimes I've heard just those little comments growing up, even like, oh, you got to, get your roots done, or, oh, does this make me look, am I too old to wear this, or things like that. I think, those kind of get into your subconscious sometimes. And I think what I love about what you stand for is that, just embrace who you are at any age. And aging it's just like you said, it just means that you get to live longer. It's a privilege to be able to live longer as well.
And I one thing I will say is that if you colour your hair because you think it makes you look younger, you're way off. Your hair and your skin colour go together. So when I look back on photos of me with my dark brown hair, I look back at it now and it looks like I poured a tin of brown paint on my hair. I look completely different. Completely different. Like, honestly, So, as an individual, that's just my opinion. But being at this parade, everybody had grey hair. It was beautiful. Long, white hair,
Yeah.
short. It was just gorgeous, yeah.
And I think that's a cool thing. Like for women, I guess, hair is a very important thing. Like even we go through a big life transition, we cut our hair, like it's very expression of ourselves. So, you know, having it going grey is like just a new, it's just like a new thing to embrace as part of like as your life. And I think that's what I love about
I think it's
you embrace it.
very old-fashioned to cover up your greys. That was a thing from my generation. That's gone. Don't do that now. My kids call it, oh my God, my sparkles, because obviously they're all going to get it. And my girls go, look at my sparkles, Mum, and you can see them coming through. And that's the way you should look at them, because they are sparkles. Yeah,
I love that. That's such an inspiring way to look at it, because even now, you know, sometimes I run my fingers through my hair and I see those little grey hairs and I go, oh, that's just, you know, of what's to come. And I think that's, you know, that's such a nice way to look.
And you're still alive and you're living longer, you know, so that they remind you that you're still alive too.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
My favourite all-time sewing project is the orange suit I made for the my graduation. That would have to be it. I found a vintage pattern that had a beautiful sleeve that was not just pleated. It was, I can't describe it, but really hard to make. Really, so like even with a pattern, really hard to make. And I loved that. So I get joy in everything I make. The things that I make that I really love, I've worn and worn and worn. And the things that I thought I liked, I've donated. So I don't hang on to everything.
That's good. Did you find what you loved about those pieces that you just described? Was it the challenge of completing them because they were more
It's always the challenge for me. It's always I love that excitement of sitting down and starting and planning. I love that bit. I don't like it so much when it gets complicated. I love the whole beginning to end, and I love packing it away. And I keep a folder for each thing I make. That I have the master pattern that I make, then I'll have my pattern in it, then I'll have a photograph of me in it on the cover so I can see which one it is, and I'll put a sample of the fabric and some instructions if I knew there was something difficult in it. I love that. I go back and go, look, this is where it is. So that's a good way to file your patterns if you're making them, you know. Or even if you're not making them, to make sure you put your notes in when there's been things that haven't worked and you can fix it.
Definitely. I feel like that too with patterns. Sometimes you revisit an old pattern, and sometimes I'll write on mine 28th birthday dress, or, you know, 30th birthday dress, or things like that, and it kind of can transport you back. And I think that's a good way to file them. It's almost like a little time capsule of where you were when you were making that.
That's so true. Well, I'm always going to say comfort, because that's my big thing. So everything I make is comfortable. I guess you just have to, photographs are a good way to look at your photograph of you in something, because some people don't get colours, but if you can see that your face looks brighter and you look happier with a particular colour on, then go for it. And there's no such thing as a bad colour. Like, people will say that won't suit you, and it may not, but you have to keep experimenting. That's probably, and then I guess you can copy people's style and adapt it as your own. You know, not copy it completely, but pick up things about the way people style.
So it's really just kind of comfort, and then noticing yourself through photos and kind of just taking a bit more of taking more notice of what you feel
what you think you look good in, and not to be too critical of yourself, and not to compare yourself to other people. I think it's okay I don't have any issues with people copying what I do. I don't have any issues at all. If it's inspiring, then that's fine. But I think you will know, and not to be too analytical about it all. Just what you feel comfortable in, And you'll know those clothes because they're the ones you reach for all the time.
Were you always like this? Or has this have like been able to embrace your style and know what you like, and
Probably.
or has it been something that you've developed?
No, I've developed it, definitely. I mean, I didn't have bad taste, I suppose, but I used to buy ill-fitting clothes a lot. For some reason, I used to think I was a size 8 or something. Never was. And so I'd always be like, like this. So, no, I always make sure I buy comfortable clothes. That's my big thing. Yeah.
And have you always been the Meridy in the colourful clothes with the glasses and things? Or was that?
Well, not the glasses didn't come till I was. They came a bit early actually. They came like I was in not quite 40, but I've always loved colour. Anything shiny, I've always loved that. So probably that's from the 80s. So in the 80s it was big, and you do a lot of things are from your memory of your life, and the 80s were big for me. I loved the 80s. Then I had to get serious in the 90s with all those children. It's probably made a profound difference because there's so many young women sewing. They weren't sewing before. And I love seeing what people do. You're not going to like everything because everyone's different. Particularly young people starting need a bit of, you're on the right track. Everyone's been pretty nice to me on social media. Don't know about in real life, but in social media. Once someone wrote, "What got into you? Why would you make something like that?" Really? I just didn't know what to say. In fact, if people follow me, they know I always just say thank you. I think it's a pretty nice group of people, don't you? Yeah. Generally, really nice.
Yeah.
And I think the Sew Over 50 group are just amazing. They put in so much work. I always feel guilty. I'm thinking, oh, you're one of them. You don't do anything. Just sit back and make your own creations. But, yeah, they do some really good stuff.
Yeah, the Sew Over 50 is really
good.
Yeah.
And that's brought so many women out that wouldn't have ever had, I don't think, would have had the gumption to go on with a make. Because most people generally don't go, wow, look what I've made, aren't I great? They'll go, oh, it's not very good. That's their first words. And it doesn't matter. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. It's not very good. It doesn't matter. You made it. Next time you might make it a bit different. It doesn't matter. What I would like to do is get another sewing machine. And I've actually got the Bonina embroidery attachment, and I haven't put it on my machine yet, so I'm going to have lessons for that, definitely. But I would really like to get into some embroidery on
like
clothes.
the freestyle embroidery,
freestyle, or even just to be able to embroider stuff. I think it'd be really nice for all the granddaughters and the grandson. The
special heirlooms
on their clothes. And I see some wonderful work. And I always feel bad that I just don't have that urge to sit down and make play blankets and do all that stuff that I know a lot of people do. I just go and buy them. I'm really bad, but anyway, I buy them, I guess.
You can't make everything. Sometimes you got to pick what you.
I throw my husband an occasional shirt, like about every 5 years.
Chris is still waiting for his.
I would always say to get sewing lessons.
Yeah,
that would be my first thing. And the other thing would be to go and buy a beginner pattern at Spotlight, because you all have to start somewhere. I shouldn't say Spotlight. Beginner pattern. And just get started.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole different language, really. If you buy a new sewing machine, it should come with a lesson. Really love Majuki, but you don't need it to start with. You need to start with a much easier machine.
Yeah.
But once your skills are up, they're just fantastic.
Yeah. It's more just, I guess, kind of like starting somewhere, maybe getting a lesson just to get you on your way. Yeah. And then it's just really just keep doing it.
And understanding the language of sewing.
Yes, yeah.
Now I have got, which you're welcome to photograph, I reckon I've got 100 sewing books. And so going onto websites on YouTube is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you could really make anything now. just from people telling you how to do it on YouTube.
Yeah, there's so much more resources
Yeah.
now. Yeah. I think sometimes seeing in a video can really help. Like, I think you've got to, sometimes with books, you've got to interpret and you've got to maybe have that little bit of practice to kind of understand it.
Yeah.
But then when sometimes the videos, depends how you learn, I guess. Yeah.
Well, my biggest thing lately has been, because I've got lots of vintage patterns, is taking an element from the vintage pattern and putting it on my pattern. And that's been fun, because these vintage patterns are not like patterns now.
Jane, hello.
She'll be sewing one day.
Oh yeah.
Change the room around a little
This
bit.
is sewing.
Did you change the configure? Oh, maybe this table's up and
Yeah, I dropped that one because I started doing a bit of sewing sitting down. I've still got a lot of fabric to work through.
sparkly.
Yeah, I really want to make a suit out of this one. I think I was going through my rubbish stuff that I stopped making.
Yeah.
You know how you start something and don't like it?
Oh,
And I found this in it.
yeah.
And this would have to be one of my earliest pieces of sewing.
Yeah, it's like quite a little.
It's a big stitch. And then I'm thinking, how did I know how to do that? I've got no idea what pattern it is. This one was, this is Etsy. It's got to be
green.
something.
Yeah.
And then this one is beautiful. On the cheaper side.
Darn cheap.
Darn cheap fabrics.
It is?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went there last year.
They have great accessories.
Yeah, they have good trims. Yeah, I looked.
Yeah, I like having that little bit of organisation.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Yeah. Your Jessica jacket recently in the magazine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a tweezer?
The tweezers, yeah. No, I had them from my nursing days. So they're pretty old. And somehow I haven't lost them.
Yeah, that's a nice big kind of.
Because people have no idea, as you know, how many hours. And so if you quoted somebody, even to make a skirt, they could go and buy 4 skirts for the price. And I don't think people get that. I think they think you just whip it up. Yeah, which is understandable.
But that's what I like to say when I say when you sew your own clothes, you can have a deeper appreciation
Yeah.
for what goes into it, and you don't kind of go,
Yeah.
oh, can you just quickly do this thing?
I mean,
Like,
obviously, like you'd make your mum something, I'd make my kids something.
Yeah.
That's different. And like over the years, I've had people that are so belligerent on Instagram saying, "No, can you just? I'll pay you. I don't care what it costs. Will you make that for me?" And it's just like, no,
it's not worth your time.
no, it's not what I'm not in business. I'm in the creative world.
When you're a person that has a lot of things that you want to make, very creative, I think you go, that's going to take away from me being able to do these other projects I want to do. So.
I don't know what I'd do if I didn't sew. I can see it. I've kind of set up a little world in here.
Yeah. It's awesome.